Welcome into the fourth episode of the Pocket Aces podcast. My name is Doug. Sean is my co-host. How are you, Sean?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I am good, my man. I'm really excited to get into this one today. So we are here, and Sean, for the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're just going to sit here, watch poker, and talk about what we're watching. So we're getting ready for ESPN to load up here. This is, and actually the little intro here has just begun. We are going to pick it up at the very beginning of the ESPN coverage for day 5. So we'll get to the numbers and everything here, but this is the very beginning. So if you happen to at all be inclined to watch it on your own while you're listening to us, this is the very beginning of day 5 here of the World Series, the poker main event, the beginning of the ESPN coverage. I think it's going to be on for 2 or 3 hours, but we're just going to be here for about 45 minutes. And we're just going to pick it up right where ESPN leaves off for us. So I am really looking forward to this, Sean. This has been an episode I've been looking forward to since we talked about doing this. So let's just jump right into it as the little intro video is concluded. And as you see it there, day 5. So, Sean, the main event, and I don't know if we've actually talked about this. What is your favorite part of the main event? I don't think we talked about this in previous episodes. What is, right off the top of your head, what's one of your favorite parts of the main event?
The final table, specifically when it's heads up, because that's when they bring out the cash and the bracelet. They set it right there in the middle of the table. So those two players that are competing against each other, they can just see right in front of them what they're playing for. And we at home are like, holy crap, we can only dream of sitting in those chairs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have to say that I think, by the way, Richard Seymour, you talked about him, before we started. I think one of the most difficult parts of the main event is the fact that you have to fight through so many days. And then guess what? You play heads up and you get to sit there and look at what you're playing for. Mm-hmm. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like to come in second and have to sit there and look at that for the entire heads-up match only to know that you're not going to get it. Now, granted, you're getting a pretty nice payday coming in second place. The winner this year getting $10 million, so I can imagine second place is going to get somewhere maybe $7 million to, I don't know if the second, I don't know if I'm sure they'll put it up at some point, but second place I can imagine is going to walk away with $7.5, $8 million, close to that. So just absolutely insane. So we are underway. If I sound like I'm broadcasting this to myself, it's because sports broadcasting is a secondary hobby of mine, like a second job. So blinds are at 15,000, 30,000 with the big blind ante of 30,000. Richard Seymour at the the feature table here. And does he have like a shoulder sling on, or is that a bag? I can't tell.
I'm actually not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I can't tell. He's got this weird thing around him. It looks like a fanny pack, but I can't tell if it's holding his arm or not. So, anyway, we've got 9-6 for Kudos of Hearts, 9-7 for Eldred, and kind of a dry board, Jack 10, Queen Jack so far. The only other name I really recognize here on this table is Dario Sammartino. I believe he was a November 9er a couple years ago. That name rings in my head. I saw the name Stout there at the end, and I thought that said Saout for a second, who would be Antoine Saout, who has 2 main event final tables, which to make it to the main event final table twice is just insane. But, so Sean, here, I'll ask you, since they're kind of featuring this hand here, what would you do in this situation? You've got 9-7 or 9-6 suited on a board that is kind of dry if you have the 9-7, but you've got this gentleman here, Kudos or Sudos, I'm not sure how they pronounce it. He's got a flush right now, but your flush is only 9-6. Are you sitting there worried about the fact, and the guy that he's up against here just bet 75,000. So Sean, if you're hearing this hand, are you concerned about a better flush?
If I'm in Kudos' position, yes.
Yes, if your flush is Jack, Queen, 10, 9, 6, are you worried about a better flush here?
Especially and actually since he could have an ace.
Mm-hmm. He raised with the flush and he ended up taking it down, so obviously his opponent was, I don't know. We can never know what his opponent was thinking there. I know in that situation, if it was me, I would probably figure he had a flush. And obviously, I think in that situation, you're leading out. I believe his bet was 75,000. You're leading out there just to get a feel for where you are in the hand. But so obviously, Lon McCarron, Norman Chad, Kara Scott, and I believe they said Jamie Kerstetter was on the call as well. Antonio Esfandiari is still in the tournament, so he can't broadcast just yet.
Norman Chad's the funniest guy.
Oh, Norman Chad, a part of me, and I'm not gonna lie, Sean, as much as I love the live, an hour-long episode, and it was just all kind of preconceived. It was a script, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But just so funny. I remember he used to say, anytime he mentioned where someone went to college, he would say they are the Ragin' Cajuns. And then it would be the Rambling Wreck. And I personally believe he and Lon McCarron are one of the best duos in sports. And as a sports broadcaster, amateur on the side, used to be professional, and then the baseball team I worked for folded. As a broadcaster myself, I would love to sit down with Lon McCarron one day and just ask him, how do you do it? How do you take a game like poker and just make it so interesting? Because it's amazing at how great of a job he does doing play-by-play for this, turning a game that you would think would be boring to watch into something very exciting. So here we go. We've got Kudos, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this guy's name right. It might be Pseudos. Looks like he's from Argentina. Deuces against Brinkley's Kings. Pseudos called with the deuces on a raise to... He called the raise, $225K in the pot. This tournament, and this is something we can get into, Sean, that I'm not too happy about. What a donkey of a flop there. The main event using the big blind ante. I really wish they wouldn't do that in the main event. I wish they would just do the regular antes that they always had. But I understand that the big blind ante making it go along a little quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So, and obviously we're at day 5. They haven't shown. I don't think they've shown yet how many people are left. But I know from what I've heard, they have less people at this point in the tournament than they expected, because it's moving along pretty quickly. So Lech or Lech, I'm not sure what it is, connected with the
I'm surprised
flop.
He actually stayed in that hand.
Yeah, with 4-3 of
like...
hearts. He was the big blind, so he's going to defend his blind. Interesting to defend,
true.
But interesting to defend your big
to
blind.
Call that big raise, like that pre-flop with a 4-3.
And now for Lech, he's got bottom pair, Brinkley with kings. Did Brinkley show? Did he just show it? I think he did. Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's a cool dealer button. Why would you show? I mean, it's not a bluff, but why would you show there? At least he didn't do what you did that one time, Sean, where you wanted to show me and me only your cards at the table at Ocean.
You show one,
and the dealer was, no, it wasn't that. You wanted to show me. You only wanted to show me, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
So here you go. As of this moment, first place $10 million. The current, whoever gets eliminated now when we're watching, 43,000. The next pay jump to 50,000. So in a tournament where you're buying in for 10 grand to walk away with 50 grand, not bad at all. And obviously for a lot of these guys, they want satellites. They got funded, or not funded, they got staked. Some of these guys, some of the big time pros, I mean, I've always wondered, does Phil Hellmuth even actually put his own money in, or does Ultimate Bet or something like that, does someone give him the money? So I've always wondered stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, with all his sponsors.
Yeah, there's for a lot of these guys, I can imagine the sponsor puts you there. So I don't know if maybe that's how it is for this, but I can imagine for some of the events. So Kolev raising to 65 here with ace-6 suited, and he might get a walk here. Here comes this Lech guy again. Is he going to call with 4-3 again? No, he got out of the way that time. Brinkley calling with ace-4. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
nice.
My
God.
On the flop, trips.
So for this Kolev gentleman, ace-6 of spades, and then he flops trips trips with a 10. Now let's see if he puts out a bet. Now, see, in that situation, Sean, I think I'm going to check. Granted, he was the original raiser, so it's a C bet. He's continuing. It's just a continuation, but I don't know.
I would have checked to see what Brinkley did.
Yeah, I would have tried to keep him in the hand for another. I think that was a lost opportunity. Now, obviously, who the hell are? I mean, let's be honest here. We'll be flat out honest, folks. Who the hell are we? We're sitting in a basement at a house in Jersey. We're not actually there. We've never played. Neither of us have played at this level. This is just totally to say what we would do in that situation. Man, that guy right there that they're showing is named Lars Bonding, and he looks like Chris Moneymaker if Moneymaker just wore glasses and grew a beard out and grew his hair out more. So there you go. Daniel Hashem. There's one of your guys right there.
Yeah.
Jeff Mattson, Adam Friedman, Olivier Bousquet. There's a name for you for the Poker After Dark days. You remember seeing him, Sean, on Poker After Dark? Yeah. I swear he always wore a nice shirt and like a vest or something. Mm-hmm. Olivier Bousquet was like the definition of class in the poker world. So, so let's see what we got here now.
I remember those days I was in high school and I would stay up on the weekend on Friday nights, like really late after Carson Daly would be Poker After Dark.
Yep. And what's cool about it, Sean, is, I mean, we're watching here. I could pull up Poker Go and we could watch any of those old Poker After Dark episodes. I've been watching some of them. It's cool.
That's where I first noticed SVN Dari, Mike the Mouth
Mattisau.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is I believe Mattisau's still in the event, which for Mike is kind of a surprise. I mean, as much as I like Mike, we staked him in an event this year. Unfortunately, he did not cash. I've always been a big fan of Mike. Unfortunately, he's had some health issues. Here comes, now look at this. Here's Brinkley flopping trip aces. Now, again, he checked this time, so he doing what we would have done. This Brinkley guy's he's a little talkative for me. I'm different when I come to poker. I like to sit there. I mean, Sean, you've played with me at the casino. I mean, I'll talk to people next to me if I'm not in a hand, but this guy, he's talking with the dealer. I mean, I get it. You're on TV. So there you go. That time got to and now he's going to show again. Why? Come on, dude. All right, so that time he got a little bit more money betting, checking.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't really get more. Yeah, why would you show in that situation?
He's giving away his betting patterns by doing that.
Yeah, I mean, you had pocket kings and now trip aces, and he's got Thor's hammer there. That's actually pretty cool. But, you are. And I think, by the way, Richard Seymour, it is like not a fanny pack, but it's something. It's not an arm sling, as I thought it was. Those 500,000 chips, Sean, I want a copy of those. I used to have the World Series of Poker replica chips. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted them to make that because I always thought those little, I believe they're 49 millimeters. Typical poker chips are 39 millimeters in diameter. I believe those are like 49 or 50. They're so cool. But yes, this Brinkley guy almost appearing to give away his betting pattern. But again, I get it. You're on TV. You want people to notice you. I think that's Alex Keating, who was a gentleman that I grew fond of a couple years ago, was a very big personality. He actually followed me on Instagram a couple months ago. I was like, oh my God, I know who this guy is. Why the hell is he following me? But he did. It's him. I don't know if he runs it or if he has someone that runs it for him. But yeah, there's Richard Seymour's other arm, so it's not an arm sling. And he actually took that down with ace 10. Look at that.
He's a big surprise for me.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not common to see, big name athletes make it this far.
No, I mean, and there are celebrities there. I mean, James Woods plays every year. Ray Romano plays almost every year. And you never see people like that go deep. So, very cool. So, we're at our first commercial break. There's your favorite beer, Sean, Corona Premier. Stuff was absolutely disgusting. So, first commercial break. Sean, what have you seen so far? They haven't really gone to any of the outer tables. They've just stuck with this feature table here. So, from what you've seen, what do you like? What do you don't like? We already talked about what we don't like from the Brinkley fella, but what do you like so far? I know there hasn't been a whole big sample size, but
it's hard to tell right now. But I do like some of the hands I've been seeing. Flopping trips, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That's the one thing. You would think you would think where you're watching live poker where they're showing almost every hand, you'd think there'd be a lot of dull moments. But so far in just the first 15 minutes or so, there's been a couple of really good hands. There's Jeremy Renner. I honestly don't know if we've seen a hand get to showdown yet. It seems like every hand that they've aired so far has been a fold.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeremy Renner. Have you seen Tag?
No, I want to.
That movie is so funny.
Is it?
He's very funny in that movie. I actually heard that he broke his leg filming that movie. So,
Wow.
I don't know how true this is. Well, I know he broke his leg, but then I heard that, his Avengers scenes had to get pushed back because he had to recover from that.
Oh, wow. He was great in that movie.
Yeah.
In that
There's
game.
a scene in Tag. The whole purpose of the movie, not to stray too far off, whatever. We're sitting here, we're just talking. So, kind of going off script, not script, but kind of a different episode here for those of you out there watching. By the way, feel free to check us out on Facebook at just search, go to www.facebook.com/Pocket Aces Podcast. Check us out on the Podcast Addict app, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, a whole host of places that you can find the podcast. This is a little bit different, so if you like abnormal podcast formats, feel free to stick around, listen to us talk about all kinds of stuff. We're just kind of free-flowing here. No script, no notes in front of us. But there's a scene in Tag, Sean, where Jeremy Renner, the whole purpose of the movie is, and it's based on a true story, Ed Helms, a couple different other guys. I forget names, but I've seen them in other movies. They're part of a friend group that's been playing the same game of Tag for 30 years. Jeremy Renner never tagged once, and he literally will go to great lengths to not be tagged. And there's a scene in the movie where he literally is in this church. He goes up onto this top level of the church, gets onto a stack of chairs. The chairs tumble down and he runs away. Apparently, while filming that scene, he fell off and broke his leg.
Oh.
And I heard a rumor that because of that, they had to push his Avengers scenes back. I don't know how true that is, but it delayed. Some of the Avengers filming was delayed because of he had his recovery for that. So it was either his leg or his foot or something like that. So
that's dedication now for
That
him.
is,
Not to have
absolutely.
a stunt double do that for you.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
you to
look
actually go and do it yourself.
And look at the guy,
Pretty
though.
cool.
He's jacked. He is in shape enough to be able to do his own stunts.
Mhm.
So we are back. Oh, there he is. Olivier Bousquet eliminated. Ah, come on. There you go. Just
That's
a
the
t-shirt.
room I was in, right?
Yes, that is the
Amazon room?
That is the Amazon room.
Yes.
And there's your man, Antonio Esfandiari.
That room is huge.
Oh, yeah. And there's his dad with a hockey jersey with the Esfandiari name on it. That's pretty cool. Antonio got a pretty decent looking stack there. $2 million. I don't know what the chip average is right now. They haven't shown it yet. But doing all right. He just folded. Oh, okay, there we go. I was about to say, that doesn't look like $2 million, but then I see the red chips there. So.
But honestly, I'm not that thrilled about cashing. I really would like to get to the final table. I think that's what kind of cemented
I apologize in advance,
Blair to have made it to the final
YouTube or
And
Apple or whatever, if you hear the talking in the background. I'm sure it's I don't know if it's a violation of copyright or not. If you can, I'm trying to keep the volume down, but if you can hear Esfandiari talking in the background, I apologize. And if we get flagged on this, oh well. But look at how many people are in that shot alone, Sean. And
It's
I know
crazy.
you were in there. So how big is it really? Is there anything you can compare it to give people who haven't been there? It almost looks like a warehouse. How big it is.
It's almost like the Atlantic City Convention Center. If you've been in there,
Yeah.
it's
So anyone
it's like
in
a
the
concert
area
venue.
who's been there, yeah.
It's huge, and just hearing everyone with their chips. Oh,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
beautiful
Well,
sound.
that's what I love about That's what I love about any poker room. But what I love about Borgata is the chips are different. The Borgata chips are Bud Jones. They're heavier. They're a different material. They're not clay like Paulson chips like everywhere else in Atlantic City. The Borgata room is so cool to hear. That's what I love about poker rooms. So this could actually turn into an interesting hand here. Kolev. So stout raising. I love that guy's name. It's one of my favorite types of beer. Stout raising with ace 10. Kolev on the small blind with ace queen. So he'd be out ahead here. Let's see what happens. I see a raise coming in. And I believe Stout is going to... Oh, nope, that was San Martino. So it's back around to Stout. Look at all those orange chips. I love those orange chips. Unfortunately, it's like borderline illegal to take one of those chips out of there. So, like, I'll never be able to get my hand on a real World Series of Poker chip because it's, like, impossible to do it.
Oh, yeah, because they keep track of how much you have
and
every day.
like, if you get caught, you're banned from, like, all Caesars properties forever. So, like, you better have a plan and Stout eventually folding. That's probably a good move. You better have plans to never play again.
I see in that position, if I was Kolev, I wouldn't have raised again, not knowing what I actually had. You know, like pre-flop, I would have just called the raise.
So there you go. Best main event finishes Jason. Roberto Luongo. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Luongo, Lou, as they call him, just recently announcing his retirement from the NHL after like 14 years or something like that. It's actually hard to believe an NHL without Roberto Luongo. Now that I think about it, I've been watching him play for so long. You know, there's always those guys, Sean, in sports that you know, especially for us, we grow up watching and then they retire, and you know, you feel like the league's never going to be the same again because you've just watched them your whole life growing up. I mean, it's going to be the same way when Brady retires. It's going to be the same way when LeBron retires. Even though, personally, if LeBron retires, I'll be happy because ESPN will stop talking about him as much.
For me, it would be Rajon Rondo.
Yeah?
He's, without doubt, my favorite athlete of any sport. So when he retires, it's going to be sad.
And especially for guys who play for more than a decade, and you're like, wow, that's a long time. So, Neil raising with Queen 9. Queen 9 suited. I wish it would say, it used to say their position. It only says dealer, it only says if they're on the button, the small blind, or the big blind. I wish it would say, is he under the gun? Is he under the gun +1? Is he first to act? I wish they would keep, they don't put that up anymore. I wish they would. San Martino calling with ace. Oh no, he 3-bet to 295. So Neil's going to get out of the way here, I can imagine. Again, we're showing hands. Why? I mean, gentlemen, come on. It's day 5 of the main event. If you can hang on for 2 more days, you're going to get there. So there you go. Darius Sammartino, 43rd in the 2017 WSOP. $8 million in career winnings. So there we go, finally. 255 players remaining, average stack 1.9 million. So Asfandiari above the average chip stack.
Wow.
You know what I've always wondered, Sean, and I kind of wish I had asked you to ask this. How do you sit there? How do you sit in the stadium seats behind the feature table? Because look how empty it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you have to pay to go there? Can you just stroll up and sit? Like,
that's what
I would do that.
Think.
Like,
I remember I stood when I was watching Negreanu play 2 years ago. I stood at the guardrail.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And then they had kind of like bleachers.
Yeah, but he wasn't at he wasn't at like the TV table. He was just at one of the outer tables.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Like, I swear, every time I've watched the feature table, whether like there's some final tables I've watched on Poker Go where there's been no one sitting there. Like, if I were in Vegas at the World Series of Poker, even if I didn't know a single person at the table, I'd sit there just to be like close and get to sit in those cool seats.
I remember last year, the last day of the final table when what's his name? The person who won.
Johnson.
I remember that went up to like 8 a.m. our time.
It was long.
Because I got home from work that morning from overnight, and it was still going on. So you can imagine in Vegas it was 5 a.m.
Well,
so
I remember
people probably just left.
Yeah, I remember I watched it for a little bit, turned it off because I had to go to bed. I had to get up at 7 something in the morning for work the next day. And I remember you texted me the next. I DVR'd most of it to be able to watch it. And I remember you telling me, I was at work, and I remember you telling me, like, dude, they played until almost like 8 a.m. Eastern. And I'm like, Jesus, I went to bed and woke up, and they were still playing when I woke up the next morning. It's just insane. And I think last year was one of the longer heads-ups. Like, I don't remember if it was last year or the year that Kui Wen won, where heads-up, I think it was the year Kui Wen won 2 years ago, where heads-up, they played more hands heads-up than they did in the rest of the final table up to that point.
Wow.
So just totally, I don't remember the numbers, but it was like they played 150 hands to get to heads-up. And then heads-up, they played like 165 or something like that. It was crazy. But then again, at heads-up, you're going to move along quicker. You could play 10 hands in 15 minutes at heads-up because you're just going to get folds. So here's a number. There you go, Antonio Esfandiari, Daniel Hashem. Chance Todd Brunson's still alive. He's below the average, but he's still hanging on there. There you go. My God, he looks just like his dad. Holy crap. There you go. Joe Hashem.
I think at this point, I think Joe was already knocked out.
Oh, yeah, Joe is gone already, so.
It's crazy to see his son make it farther.
It absolutely is. What's really amazing, Sean, is, I mean, this is day 5 here that we're watching live, and I don't know if there are any main event champions left. Look at that. I love that. I've never seen that until this year. The drink people walking around.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, I don't know if maybe they just never used to show it, but, I mean, do what you want, but I'm not drinking if I'm in the main event. That's just me. But, I mean, you do you if you want to. That dude was carrying around Red Bull, so, like, I'm sure these guys, just to stay focused, probably do energy drinks and stuff like that, so. So Kolev raising again here, King 9. King 9, even if it is suited, isn't a hand I'm a big fan of. But he ends up taking it. He gets a walk, raising, so. Did he show it again? That's the other thing, too. Lon McCarron just mentioning it. 10 hours a day. 5 2-hour levels. So you are there playing poker for 10 hours.
Wow.
If you get to I don't even want to know. I'll have to do the math. I mean, I would guess. I don't remember if they do 10 hours every day or if the first 2 or 3 days are shorter. But, I mean, if you make it to the final table, for the main event alone, you've gone through playing like 60 hours worth of poker just in that one tournament. And that's what makes the main event so unique, is that it is such a grind. One of the things that I've always wanted to do, Sean, just to get a feeling for what playing in the World Series is like, is go down and play the Borgata Poker Open. Like, go down for 4 or 5 days, stay down there and play in multiple events. If I felt like I had the money, I would absolutely do it.
What's the buy-in?
Well, I mean, there's so many. It's like the World Series. There's different events. There's buy-ins that are, a couple $100 to, I believe the actual championship event is like $3,200 or something like that. But it would be cool just to get a feeling for what it's like to go play in a World Series of poker, do one of the Borgata Opens and play 4 or 5 events in a couple-day period, just to get the feel for doing that.
If you win one of those events, do you get a bracelet?
No, there are. If you win the big event, they'll give you like a trophy. Like, I've seen pictures of a trophy that's like in the shape of the Borgata building.
Oh, I think
it's pretty cool.
Those.
So here we go. Here's a live one. Stout all in. We might have our first all in. Stout ace. King queen suited. Kolev queen jack suited of spades. Stout with clubs. Eldred's with jack 10. Now he's got to think here. He's gonna fold. Kolev folds, and Stout gets a walk with king queen. Probably a good choice. I mean, Sean, with queen jack suited there, what are you doing? Keep in mind, Kolev, who was that? Kolev and Stout. Keep in mind, Kolev had him covered. So you're day 5 of the main event. You've got a guy covered with Queen Jack, and he shoved all in.
What did Stout have again?
King Queen. Now, obviously, you playing against him are not going to know that. But with Queen Jack suited,
I'm not going to know, so it's hard to tell. No. I think for a raise that big, I would have to have at least an ace.
Yeah.
Ace and
Yeah.
a face card.
Because if a guy, even though he only has a couple 100,000 chips left, you've got to assume if he's putting his tournament life on the line, he's got something. King Queen, obviously, not necessarily a big hand, but you've got to. I mean, in my mind, I know I'm sitting there thinking, all right, he's got ace something or kings. Or
Plus, if I lose that hand, that's a huge blow.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you've only got a chip stack of 2 million and you call a guy who's got 800,000 and he beats you, that's. You're now underneath the average. So we're back at another commercial break here. So we'll how far in are we here? So we're about 30 minutes in. We'll go to maybe until the next commercial break. Just talking about stuff here. So Sean, here's a question for you. Think logically speaking. Now, obviously, we can all dream. If I ask you the question, if you were to go to Vegas and could play in a World Series of Poker, what event would you play in? We would all say the main event. That's the dream. But logically, what would you play in? Would you play in one of the little non-bracelet events for a couple $100? Would you pony up the dough and play in the $500 Millionaire Maker, which is a bracelet event? What would you go give a shot for?
I think the Millionaire Maker. Or maybe like a small Omaha event.
There you go.
If there's like a cheap Omaha event.
Omaha events, there's usually, a $1,500 Omaha event. I think this year they had like an $800 Omaha event. Or maybe it was $600. Oh, no, that was online. The one online tournament Negreanu played in was like $600 Omaha or something like that. Now, that's obviously online, so.
Oh, I couldn't do online. I want to play it. I want to be there in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the experience.
But for some guys just take the opportunity to be in Vegas. Maybe Negreanu did it the one day in his vlog where he took the day off. He didn't travel to the Rio. He just played an online event at home. So he still played. He just didn't have to leave his house. So
I actually follow Negreanu on Instagram.
Yeah, same.
And he does like his daily Instagram videos. It's so cool.
Yeah, his Instagram videos are kind of like short snippets of his... Because his vlogs are all like 15, 16 minutes long, and they're so cool to watch because he literally walks through the Rio and talks to the camera.
And he goes behind the scenes.
Yes, he goes through those little hallways. Yeah, it's really cool.
And I think you were the one who told me he doesn't actually stay in the hotel. He has like a trailer.
He has a trailer out back. A lot of guys do, actually. In his video, it's funny. Sometimes at certain angles, you'll see the trailers behind him. There's like 8 different trailers that guys have. Because guys would rather rent a actually, I think Negreanu has the same trailer, so I don't know if he might own it, but sometimes it's cheaper to rent a trailer for 7 weeks and park it out back than get a hotel room because, those hotel rooms probably get pricey after a while. So, then again, it is Vegas. You know what's funny? I remember getting a Borgata email one time where I could have gone to Vegas and stayed at an MGM property. And everyone says Vegas is so expensive, but like I could have stayed at MGM Grand and I mean, granted, it's not the nicest casino in the world, but I could have stayed at MGM Grand or Park MGM, one of the nicer casinos for like $100 a night during the week. And I remember thinking to myself, like, everyone says Vegas is so expensive, but it really doesn't look. I mean, it doesn't look any more expensive. I mean, come on. Like, it's not Atlantic City. Oh, boy, here we go. So we're back, and this Garcia gentleman, ace-king off with Hall with queens, all-in situation here. We might see our first...
Oh, no.
Oh, that's brutal. Ace and king for 2 pair. No, another club, but no one has a club.
He needs a queen.
Needs a queen and a queen only. Nope, and done.
Damn. I don't blame him for going all in, though.
Sucks.
Pocket queens.
Very nice dressed guy. I like that guy's hair. Oh, man, that sucks. Not bad, though. He made 43 grand, so. That's one of the worst parts about poker, man. Pocket queens like that. I swear to God, pocket queens is like one of those hands that never makes it. There we go. There you go. We were talking about it earlier. First place in the main event, $10 million. Second place, Wow, that seems low. 6, and then 4 for third, 3 for fourth, 2.2 for fifth. So
One man who would love to make the final table is the golden clad Chad Power.
I don't know who this guy is. He's got gold shirt, gold tinted sunglasses. Chad Power. Total career live winnings 527,000. He's gonna make a chunk of change here.
Called my name. So I said, all right, we got to get these jackets. They're coming gold and silver.
This guy's name is Chad Power. That's actually
A
awesome.
lot of random strangers touch me. A lot of people, making it go black, making it go gold. And it was a good night.
Oh, it's one of those jackets. It's like those pillows.
Those pillows where you can
Yeah.
wipe your hand on it. So-
Honestly, if that jacket called my name, I would change my name.
Same glasses, same jacket for day 2, 3, and 4, and I guess now 5. Hey, you know what? If it works, it works.
Yes, thank you very much.
Changes the whole look, doesn't it? And the whole
Yeah,
idea.
now it looks totally reasonable.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, Chad, nice to see you again.
251 players left.
The house
Still in that $43,000 payout. I don't know when the pay jump is.
good time. Big time music producer.
Here's one of the outer tables finally. So Michael Nowinski, he made a deep run a couple years ago. I recognize his name. That's about it.
Instagram stories that they've had in that game, Lily Close man that game, and I just watched that and I'm like, what is happening? There's been multiple six-figure piles.
Oh boy, Ace Jack. Here we go.
Oh,
What'd he bump it to? Because you know he's doing that. He bumps it to 65, so kind of like the min raise deal. And I think he's going to get a walk. King 10? You going to consider King 10?
I give Chad credit. He was one of the first to figure out that when they open up a new casino,
In the big blind, you going to defend your blind or not? Sean, what would you do here?
I
You
would call.
got King 10 off. The someone behind you. You're the big blind. Do you defend your blind or do you let it go?
I would call.
And I mean, this Garcia with King 10, he's got $3 million. He looks like he's the chip leader at the table. Yeah, he is by a long shot.
All right, so we'll stay here at table B.
This could actually get really interesting really quick. He's taking a while to think about it. Nope, he lets it go.
Wow.
Are you going to play that out, or would you at least try to see a flop?
Oh yeah, for
Okay.
sure. If I wouldn't hit anything on the flop and the other guy raised it,
Yeah.
then I would fold.
Yeah, a continuation bet from the opponent there. I think I'd fold too, but at least see a flop.
Mm.
But again, it's easy for us to say when we can see their cards.
2 years back, 1650 to the main event.
I remember Michael. They're talking about Michael Nowinski here, 15th in the main event. I remember when he got eliminated. Whoever eliminated him, I remember saying 2016 was that year where that clown from England like raised all hell. What was that guy's name? Do you remember that guy? Will Kassouf. Do you remember him? He was like way over the top. I remember that was the year Michael Nowinski had a deep run, and someone that eliminated Nowinski. I mean, he's young. I mean, I don't think he's much older than us if he's exactly our age. So to make a deep run like that at a relatively young age, I remember whoever knocked him out gave him some big props. So here we go. Queens for Applegate. Here we go. Garcia again with ace 9. See, I like ace 9. Usually only suited, but ace 9 is like one of my favorite hands to play. But obviously, in a talking cash as we're used to is a little different than the biggest poker tournament in the world. So Applegate gets a walk with queens. So we're about 40 minutes in. It looks like we'll maybe go to an hour. We'll see. We'll see when the next commercial break comes around. So
I think Kata was the youngest winner, right?
Joe Cata
21?
is the youngest winner. I believe there's a gentleman out there right now in the tournament. I think they may have mentioned it earlier. Who, I mean, obviously, if he gets there, could potentially. There's a guy out there right now who is younger than Cata. So if he gets to the final table, he'll be the youngest person to make the final table. And if he wins, he'd be the youngest. Because I believe Joe Cata was something like 21 years, 8 months. And I think this kid is like 21 years and 6 months or something like that. You know, whatever it ends up
Wow.
being. which is absolutely insane. I mean, the kid's 21 years old, and in this tournament alone is going to make more money than than I make in a year. Not to give too much away, but
Doing it twice in the same field, no one should be able to, right?
then again, who knows how much money he's spent at the World Series this year. So Nowinski raises here with, we don't know because the scanner wasn't able to read the cards. He might get a walk. King Deuce. Oh no, wait, they haven't updated the screen yet. What does this guy have? Michael Nowinski needs to. I see a lot of orange chips here. No, that's just a call. And now this Karakikov. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. 5, 6, 7 of spades. Holy crap. Now, see, this is what's funny. So Nowinski, they finally put one card up. It must have scanned. He's got a queen of spades. Question is, does he have the other spade? Does he have a flush? They won't. Yeah, see, I'm folding here. I'm not sure what Karakikov has in terms of his other. I guess the scanner didn't read the card. Now they asked him to do it so they could see it. King, queen of spades, so he's got the flush. So
nice flush.
Very nice hand. Yeah, if I'm Karakikov or Karakov or whatever, there ain't no way I'm staying in that hand now. Matt Glantz at this table, that's him right there. I recognize him as well. So 2 people at this table I recognize. So we're still on day 5, obviously. I'm just watching the live ESPN coverage. We're about 45 minutes in. Blinds 15 and 30,000. 30,000 big blind ante. It's tough though. Every however it works out, every couple hands you're blowing through 75,000 chips. So that's why I'm not a big fan of the big blind ante in the main event. I understand it's making it go a little quicker because it's more costly than having blinds and then throwing out antes every hand. But in the end, it's more costly to the individual player. But still, I wish they hadn't done it. I mean, I'm happy they didn't do the shot clock. Thank God.
Yeah.
They could never do the shot clock in the main event because I don't think they could physically have 8,500 shot clocks for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to do a shot clock in the high roller events when only 30 people register for the event. And you obviously can't have a shot clock for 7 days and then magically implement one at the final table. That just wouldn't be fair.
Plus, in my opinion, I think it'll affect the game for individual players, knowing if you're being timed.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of changes your decision making.
I remember you mentioning that in one of our previous episodes. Plus, as we joked in that episode, you have a tendency to like to think it over. We all know you do. So. All right, so we're at another commercial break. Sean, you having a good time? You want to go one more? You want to just get an hour in?
Yeah, let's go one more.
We'll go one more commercial break after this. So we'll get an hour worth in. So if you guys like what you heard so far, feel free to give us a like, comment, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict app, SoundCloud. You can check us out on Facebook. We're going to eventually, as time goes on, due to the amount of spacing that we have for our host site, we are going to have to delete some episodes off to get new ones up. The old episodes will go up on Facebook. So if you check us out at any of the places, and let's say in a couple episodes you only see 3, 4, 5 available, episodes 1 and 2 will be on YouTube for you to see. So it's not going to be totally gone, but you'll be able to find us. So We are on episode 4 here. So, Sean, obviously, we mentioned at the end of our third episode that we will be broadcasting episode 5. Not broadcasting. We'll be recording episode 5 live at the Hard Rock.
That's going to be so much fun.
That's going to be a fun weekend for sure. That's going to be, we mentioned it, that you're going to start at Bally's and then go from there. So, what are you looking forward to? We've stayed in a suite at Hard Rock, so it's not going to be anything new. We stayed in a Roxy suite before, which is the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be cool to have the balcony suite because it's going to be set up a little differently. So what are you looking forward to that weekend?
Oh, just everything. Especially at Bally's, checking out the sports book, the beach bar. I'm definitely going to be getting some pictures, so I'll post it on our Facebook
Oh,
page.
absolutely. Please do.
And then Hard Rock, sitting down playing blackjack. We plan on going over to Borgata to play some poker.
Yeah, we
so
have.
That'll be fun.
It's a group of our friends going down. We actually have enough of us going down that Borgata, if you book it ahead of time, will give you your own private table. Not private. You'll be in the poker room, but literally there's going to be enough of us to play at our own table. And Borgata's going to do it. It's going to be so cool. I think we're going to play cash only because some of the guys that are going down are not as seasoned at poker as we are. And I kind of figure, if you do a tournament, people are just throwing their money on.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's 9 of us going, for example, I don't remember exactly how many it is, but if there's 9 of us going, and let's say 3 of them don't know how to play poker very well,
they're not going to want to sit there for hours.
They're blowing their money because in a tournament they're not going to come in the top 3. I mean, unless they get lucky, they're not going to come in the top 3 or 2 to cash. So I think we're just going to play cash tournament. There's Mike Mattisau. They're back now. There's Mattisau on his scooter. Unfortunately, having some health issues the last couple of years, Mike Mattisau, but he's doing better apparently. He just apparently has a hard time walking far distances, so he has the little motorized cart. So anyway, as we were saying, it's definitely going to be cool. We could sit there and play cash. Everyone can buy in for whatever they want. Obviously, we'll have to abide by the minimum. So if Borgata's minimum for no limit is $60, you, Sean, won't be able to buy in for $40. You'll have to buy in for whatever the minimum is. But at the very least, people, some of our buddies that go with us who don't know poker as well can play, but they at least have a chance to keep some of their money. Yeah. Of course, my goal is going to be to take all of it from all of you. So one of our future episodes could very well be me here making fun of Sean for taking all of his money, or vice versa. Mike Mattisau. Some great moments on Poker After Dark from him. Some great moments.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the one, I think it was the main event years ago, or maybe it was one of the side events that ESPN used to broadcast where, I forget the one guy, forget his name, he folded Mike Mattisau. I'm so happy for the people who believed in me and bought pieces of me all summer. We did. Unfortunately, you, me, and 2 of our other friends, Sean, bought into him staked him for 2% of one of his events this year. Unfortunately, he did not cash in that event, which was unfortunate because it would have been cool to be a part of that. But I mentioned in my previous episode that I staked Joe Hashem in one of his packages. It was 3 events, and he did, in fact, cash in one of the 3 events. So I saw... what?
Wow.
Gentleman by the name of Matthew, I believe that was McEwen, has not played on day 5. His chip stack is in play, and they're saying that he's not feeling well. I believe Lon McCarron just said there's a rumor that he's in the hospital, and I guess they just blind off your stack. I thought in the main event, if you didn't show up, they picked up your stack and you were DQ'd. Holy crap. Did you hear about the guy who has, terminal cancer and played in the World Series this year?
No.
Yes, he has a very rare form of cancer that's incurable. And like, I read something online where he did an interview, or maybe it was a tweet or something, where he literally said, "My death is scheduled for the next 3 weeks." Like, I can't even begin to imagine what that must be like.
Damn.
To sit there and know. Like, that's just unreal. And I mean, what's awesome is he went to Vegas. He was raising awareness for his disease. I believe Phil Hellmuth gave him $10,000 to play in the main event. Guys, so he just went out there to play poker because that was his dream, to play in the World Series. He wasn't going to play in the main event, but I believe Phil Hellmuth gave him the money to play in the main event, which is really cool.
That's a nice act.
That is awesome, to be able to live out the dream of doing something a lot of us as poker people do. But I can't even begin to imagine, to just think of what that's like, to be having a great time doing this only just to know what's coming. I mean, obviously for him, you gotta pray for a miracle. But definitely a very heart-wrenching story. So we're back at the feature table here. They haven't changed the blinds, so I'm guessing, I don't know at what point in the... They don't ever show the tournament clock. I wish they did, because I'd like to know at what point in this level we're at. Eldridge 6-4 suited. I don't know if I'd play 6-4 suited at this point. I wish I knew what his position was. He looks like he's in middle position. Kolev folded. San Martino with nines. Are you playing nines here, Sean?
Yeah, I would, just to see the flop.
Yeah. He did, in fact, call, so he's going to play the nines. Oh, my God. Pseudos or kudos, whatever it is. Ace-Jack. Now, the question is, does he repop it? I would. See, now, if I'm in this situation, I've got Ace-Jack with a min raise and a call behind me. I'm raising here. And I think I think she said call. I think the deal... Yeah, he did call. Oh, please don't call with Ace-5. What? Or 8-5. Even in the big blind. Why? Ace... Oh.
Okay, so let's refigure the out of position.
All right, so Kudos hits both Ace-Jack. He's got two pair. Lech hits the 5, so he's got bottom pair. 6-4 is no good whatsoever. They're still in it. They all check around. So Pseudo's deciding to check with two pair. You've got to imagine two pair's good. Unfortunately, the turn is a 4 of clubs. That would scare me only if I'm
Flush draw.
any of these guys. Yeah, you've got to be afraid that someone has the two clubs. Eldridge was the one who raised with 6-4. Granted, it's of spades, so he's dead to rights. I think he's got a 5% chance here. I don't know where that comes from unless a 4 comes up and he hits trips. Kudos bets 150. I would absolutely do that. Please fold. Thank you. You shouldn't have been in the hand at all. Eldridge, the original raiser, is going to fold. I don't know why you raised with 6-4 there. San Martino now. I mean, he doesn't have top pair anymore. I mean, he never had top pair anyway, but he's got pocket nines. He's a long shot here. He needs a 9 or a club. But he's going to fold. That's the right call. Yeah, and Jamie Kerstetter just mentioning it. Even if he hits the club, it's a 9. He's got a 9. You very well could have the lower flush, so definitely a good fold there. 243 players left, 2.1 average stack. Current payout $43,000. I wish they, like I said, I wish they would tell us when the next pay jump is.
Pace of play is going to be different every year, but tournament officials think about a half level or so behind at the end of this day last year. I think there were like 109 players remaining. So we'll see as we get deeper.
Wow, they actually just said they're behind. I thought they were ahead. It's actually a surprise. So I believe from here, Sean, tomorrow will be day 6. Day after will be day 7, and then the final table will be determined. I don't remember if they play. I don't remember if they play 6 or 7. I don't remember if it's 6 then the final table or day 7 then the final table. But I believe whenever they determine the final table, there's a full day off, and then the final table will begin. They'll play from 9 to 6 one day, 6 to 3 the second day, and then 3 to the champion the next day, which I really like. And I really like the fact that they don't make these guys wait around until November to go back.
Mhm.
They only did that because it fit within the ESPN package. Because ESPN would air an episode every week from August. Now, granted, that was cool. You could watch poker. That's the only beef I would say I have. You had like 3 months of poker that you could watch every week, whereas now you only get it for a week. So, I mean, there's trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it being live like this and being able to see every day.
Let's do this first Corona Premier.
So here we go. Daniel Hashem still in it. He's above the average. Esfandiari above the average. Todd Brunson's down to about 15 big blinds. I tried to stake Todd Brunson in a couple of his packages this year, but he sold out really quick. Look at this. Dean Marone won a $100 qualifier to get into the WSOP. That's insane.
Wow.
Sorry, WSOP main event. So he put up $100 in a qualifying event, won that, and now is playing for 10. So he basically got a free $10,000 buy-in. He's basically taking $100 and he's turning it into, at bare minimum, $43,000. That's insane.
Dylan Lindy, 968. Brendan Kaufman, 594.
Is Todd Brunson related to Doyle in
Yes,
any way?
it is his son.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes. Todd Brunson, if you go back and watch some of the Poker After Darks, he's featured pretty heavily. Doyle Brunson, obviously Texas Dolly. This is the 50th World Series of Poker, which means 50 years ago he won the first ever event, and he's still involved in the game. I don't know if he played at the World Series this year. I think he says he's retired from poker and occasionally does the TV games, the cash TV games. I don't think he played in the main event this year. I don't remember seeing anything about him.
Yeah, me neither.
But very cool for Doyle Brunson to still be involved in the game 50 years after it all began. Unfortunately, I think he's one of the last guys left from those early years. But San Martino with ace king. Brinkley 3-bet coming over the top of him with ace 4 suited. Now here's the question, does Brinkley show it again? Because he's been doing it the whole time since we started watching. Definitely a good call. I mean, you've got one of the best hands. And, I mean, what are you thinking here that Brinkley could have? Aces? Kings? I mean, that's the only thing I'm really scared of. The only thing I'm scared of. Yeah. But even if it's a lower pocket pair, queens or jacks, I'm not afraid of queens or jacks here. And then a friggin' rainbow rag flop board. Sorry, I didn't know it was a rainbow. So there you go. Look at this Brinkley. Look at this. I mean, granted, okay, he's got a gut shot straight jaw.
Sometimes you end up getting a ton of value out of ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, things like that. But
Did you expect him to continue here? No.
here he just gets a pretty terrible flop.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're San Martino here, Brinkley's just continuation betting. So,
Yeah, it's about the C bet I'd put in. So
Yeah.
just standard
Absolutely.
betting away.
That's just no help there. It just adds a lower.
We'll go for Brinkley now.
Yeah.
So you see how
So now Brinkley adds the wheel draw. So 2 or 6 gives him a straight. San Martino's still with the best hand.
showdown ace king high for this pot.
You got to still think you're good if you have ace king. I
He
mean,
doesn't want to keep putting chips in this pot.
Unless he's got a pocket pair. Yeah, I would check back here. Oh,
Oh my god.
oh. All right, so this, luckily we made it
Wow.
this far before ending the episode. This is going to probably be our most exciting hand so far. So Brinkley hits the, what is this, 6, yeah, he hits this 8 high straight. And he's got the extreme straight, as I like to call it. He's got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Or two. There are two. Yes.
Still pretty
Still
cool with that.
small. Yeah, right.
I like the check back there from San Martino on the on the turn. Only because, yeah, it's a free card, but you don't have to risk something silly here happening like this.
Mm-hmm.
I may pay this one off from San Martino.
I think he saved himself some money here because if he can get away with this, if he can get away from this hand. But see, the question is, are you considering the straight here? What range does Brinkley has where he has the 4? 5, 6, 7, 8. You could think you could think that he could potentially have a 9. So I can understand why you would think straight, and I'm sure he's thinking that. But see, if I'm I know if I'm San Martino in this situation, I'm thinking he's got the 9, not the 6. San Martino taking a lot of time to think about it, so. Now, obviously, it's $240K. It's a decent chunk of change.
So it has to look like you had me beat, but I have to pay you off.
Well, he only has 350.
San Martino's shaking his head. I think at this point he knows he's beat. He's about a minute and a half. It's showing about a minute and a half into thinking about this.
There's no way he has a 4 or a 9 in his range. Big country. If you look outside, into the range, you'll see a lot of stuff.
Norman Chad just said it. I mean, does his range have the 9 or the 4?
Dario doesn't want to give it up.
I'm definitely not thinking the 4. But see, the problem is in this situation, Sean, I think you've got to think what if he has ace 9? You're dead.
You're always a little bit worried about when you haven't played that opponent very much. It seems like Brinkley doesn't have a ton of experience.
What are you doing here if you're San Martino?
Not a ref player, but
Oh, he called. Oh,
I would have folded.
Yeah, and he's gonna look.
You saw him squint as Brinkley was talking. He was studying as
Yeah, he knew it.
Carefully. Brinkley looked comfortable the whole way.
he looks more uncomfortable after
He
this.
does, doesn't he? I'm sorry, Dario. Don't come back at me.
Yeah, so that's pretty. Yeah, so he knows. San Martino knows. That's the face of someone who knows I should have folded.
34-year-old Brinkley.
Andrew Brinkley, biggest career live cash, $43,000 back in 2015. So basically, if he gets knocked out on this pay ladder, he would have the same amount that he got in 2015 if he makes it one more. So there you go. Finally, 1,286 people made the cash. Min cash was 15K. 5 2-hour levels played per day. That's insane. 10 hours of poker. So you're playing 10 hours. You're going back to your hotel room or whatever and resting. You're getting up the next day and doing it. I don't remember. I think they started. Oh God, I don't remember. 2 o'clock Pacific time, and then they play for 10 hours. So I think they go from 2 to whatever that is, 2 to 12.
2 to
they
12.
go 2 to midnight. I mean, I can imagine you're not getting a lot of sleep. I mean, unless
And they
you're
get dinner breaks.
yeah,
too,
they get
in
dinner
between.
breaks and stuff. But some guys like Negreanu will literally take the dinner break and go back take a nap in his trailer. Some guys will do that.
Oh.
But like
How long do you get? Like an hour?
dinner breaks are an hour, and then they have the little 15-minute breaks built in. So, but God, I just can't even imagine playing 10 hours of poker, being done at midnight. You've got to try to go to sleep and get some rest, get up the next day, and then go right back to playing at 2 o'clock. I mean, that's just insane.
I don't know if I'd be able to sleep.
I
Just
don't know if
knowing
I
how
would either.
excited I am.
Yeah, especially the further along you get.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why it's a good thing they give them the day off in between the main event. I'm sorry, in between before the final table, I should say. You can at least get one night of sleep.
Could be.
Because I'm sure if you make the main event final table, you can barely sleep the night before. I know I'd barely be able to.
Taking some more chips off the table. Andrew, Norman mentioned, not a poker pro, works for an IT firm in Atlanta now, born in New Orleans.
So they're going to play another hand here. I'm sure we've only got a couple more until the commercial break, and then we'll wrap it up here. So if you've held on with us so long, glad you tuned in. Just listen to us, shoot the shit on some poker here. Literally just been watching live. Here's Dario Sammartino with ace-6 suited, Stout with jacks. So Sammartino raised to 65. If I have jacks, I'm coming over the top. Actually, I don't know. A call here wouldn't be terrible, but... Oh, he's taking a lot of chips. He's got a lot of greens. How many? Well, Stout with only 835,000. And obviously at 1530 blinds, you're not going to shove, but you're definitely going to raise. See, if I'm Stout here, you 3-bet, what does that say, 160? If you get re-raised here, then you shove.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see anyone doing that.
Some people can be steamed on the outside and still play really well, though.
And I think he's going to get a walk.
Trying to learn that still. Tough.
Richard Seymour with threes. He laid them down. Man, I'm tired just sitting here watching poker for an hour. I can't imagine what it must be like to play for 10 hours. Sammartino calling.
Trying to force the issue, maybe one diamond in there, but that's all for Sammartino.
Pretty dry board, not much going on there.
Sammartino checks knowing exactly what's going to happen here.
So yeah, like Lon McCarron said, here comes a continuation bet and a fold. Oh, he's not going to shove, he's just going to raise and then a fold. Yeah, that's easy. Little bit at a time, Mr. Stout. You never know, chipping a chair. And now I believe they're going on break. Yep, so they're going to go on break. ESPN's going to take a TV timeout as well. And then it sounds like they're going to go to the desk. So I think, Sean, that's going to do it for us here. The players will go on break. Obviously, coverage will continue on ESPN for I don't even know how much longer. But we'll wrap it up here. So those of you tuning in, thank you so much. This has been another episode of the Pocket Aces podcast. Tune in for episode 5 when we have it available and it goes up. We'll be doing it live from a suite at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City. Looking forward to it. Sean, fun as always. So we'll see you next time. For those of you out there, we will see you next time when we have an episode. Take care, everybody.
See ya.